Good evening and welcome to Mitv News at 6. I am Kemi Omoshebi Awudeyin. Chairman of the Southern Governors Forum, Rotimi Akeredolu, has tackled the Fulani Socio-Cultural Association, Mitv, for opposing the enactment of anti-open grazing law by governors in the region, saying that no cultural practice permitted criminality, banditry, rape, and armed robbery. Akeredolu declared that the anti-open grazing law would be enforced vigorously. It will be recalled that the Fulani Socio-Cultural Association had, during the week, called on the National Assembly to intervene and stop attempts by some state governors to enact anti-open grazing laws targeted at Fulani pastoralists. Its National Secretary of the association, Mr. Saleh Halazan, said the law would undermine the relative peace and stability currently enjoyed in the local communities, threatening the social order and exacerbated cattle rustling. According to him, the anti-open grazing laws would destroy livestock production and set into poverty millions of people that depend on the livestock value chain. Akeredolu, in a statement issued and signed by Senior Special Assistant Special Duties and Strategy, Dr. Doyin Odebowale in Akure, said that no bandit will operate in Ondo State under any dubious guise. The Secretary, Zonal Southwest Mietiala Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria, MACBAN, Maikudi Usman, has said that banning of open grazing may give rise to tension and cost of cows in Lagos State. This came just as MACBAN acknowledged the presence of some Fulani bandits in Southwest who should be weeded out, saying that they are not members of Mietiala. Usman stated this on Wednesday while giving a submission at the one-day public hearing on a bill for a law to prohibit open grazing in Lagos, the trespass of cattle on land, and for other connected purposes, organized by the State House of Assembly Committee on Agriculture at Alausa, Ikeja. To be recalled that the State Assembly had on Monday committed a bill on prohibition of open grazing to committees for consideration. The anti-open grazing bill was committed to the Committee on Agriculture after its scaled second reading. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, has intercepted a total of 451,807 tablets of Captagon pills weighing 74.119 kilograms at the Apapa port in Lagos. The NDLEA boss, Chairman Retired General Buba Mara, who announced the discovery on Wednesday while speaking with journalists on the confiscated Captagon pills, popularly known as phenethylene, a co-drug of amphetamine and theophylline, and with popular the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria. General Mara noted that the jihad drug worth about $11.3 million, about 6 billion naira, keeps users awake for long, dulls pain, and creates a sense of euphoria. It disclosed that the pills found by the government agencies in Nigeria's commercial hub were concealed inside an imported machine. The general, who stated that each pill cost $25, are commonly found in the Middle East, and this will be the first time the drug will be brought into an African country south of the Sahara. NDLEA boss said one suspect in connection with the seizure was arrested, while others are at large.
Captagon has been linked basically to the Middle East, especially the Syrian war. It is believed also that ISIS is behind the production and sale of Captagon as a means of generating funds for weapons and also enhancing the fighters. And so when you connect the dots and the relationships of the ISIS and ISWAP in Nigeria, it is obvious that the destination for these chemically enhancing pills are the insurgents, the Boko Haram insurgents, and those ISWAP that are operating in the fringes of Nigeria all the way to the northwest. And you can imagine the havoc that this would cause had this passed through to the recipients in Nigeria. I think the message must be clear now that the NDLEA has zero tolerance for the production of drugs, trafficking of it, and of course drug abuse. And so we must warn to those who engage in this practice that whether they come by sea or by air through our international airports or through the land borders, they will have the NDLEA to contend with, because we will nail them.
Former Governor of Oyo State, Rashid Ladoja, has admonished students to read and keep abreast of what is happening around them, than surfing the net. The former governor, who gave the advice in Lagos on Wednesday, warned against continuous surfing from the net, reports that are inimical to the development of the reading habits. The wife of the former governor, Bukola Ladoja, also charged parents to encourage their wards to imbibe reading, as it expands the mind by developing a child's imagination and engage in critical thinking skills. She said reading to children at an early age stimulates the part of the brain that allows them to understand the meaning of language, which helps build key language, literacy, and social skills. Bukola Ladoja advocates the children a book a week. The special advisor to Ogun State on Education, Ronke Shoombo, explained that all children within the primary school age bracket in the state should be encouraged to imbibe the culture of reading to increase their knowledge and improve their comprehension.
We have a lot of challenges now, you know. The advent of internet, with these mobile phones, all those ones make it difficult now for our children to face reading. And you cannot control even what they read, whether what they read is fact or not. And I still believe that reading still has its own place.
Because the essence of this program is for us to take reading culture to every homes, to incite and encourage parents to encourage their children to read, and make sure that we work together to have a new Nigeria of a sound mind, a new Nigeria that is creative and innovative, a new Nigeria that we will all come together to develop.
Is that a lot of our children are only decoding, as I said, they're not comprehending. They can read fluently, but they don't understand. When it comes to deductions, when it comes to inference questions, when it comes to where they need to actually give reasons, support things with reasoning, they cannot do it. And it's because we have lost them. So a lot of things have distracted our children, and that's why even writers must come out and actually make their books to be more interactive now.
Tomorrow, how do we cultivate their mind? We decided that, look, the only way to do that is by getting a child to read one impact and character molding, high impact and character molding literature book a week. So we came up with a project, a book, a child, a week project.
The Department of State Services, DSS, has preferred a 5-count terrorism charge against 2 detained associates of Yoruba Nation agitator Sunday Adeyemo, popularly known as Sunday Igboho. Listed as defendants in the charge marked FHC/ABJ/CR/305/2021, which was entered before the Federal High Court in Abuja. Noah Oyetunji, and the only lady that was arrested during the July 1st raid of Igboho's residence by DSS operatives, Amodat Babatunde. Whereas the DSS alleged that the first defendant, Oyetunji, was in possession of their firearms for terrorism-related activities, it alleged that Amodat helped to promote acts of terrorism using her Facebook page. To be recorded that though the DSS has so far released 10 out of the 12 persons it arrested at Igbo's house, it retained the 2 defendants in charge to court in its custody. The Association of Nigerian Licensed Customs Agents, ANLCA, has appealed to the federal government to beam its searchlight into the case of foreigners that are intruding into businesses meant for the locals at the Nigerian maritime sector. The Vice President, Dr. Kayode Farinto, decried the new trend of foreigners taking over the customs blockade, which ought to be left for Nigerians. Dr. Farinto, who denied the allegation that the executive members of the association were obstructing the Nigerian Customs Service from carrying out the 100% physical examination of cargoes, said the body will engage the House Committee on the Customs in due course to shed light on the issues. He called on members to engage the federal government in order to tap into the 1.3 billion people market and a $3.4 trillion worth economic blocks of the African Continental Free Trade Area. A member of the National Action Committee of the AFFCTA, Fumi Folonsho, advocates for the CRFFN to have a desk in each sectorial association's headquarters in order to be able to articulate their needs and aspirations and to integrate these in the program of AFFCTA. She pleaded with the executive of ANLCA to set up an AFFCTA pressure group. Representatives of the CRRFN, Florence Epo, highlighted the educational programs of the Council as she urged that the programs will help in professionalizing the practice of freight forwarding.
African Free Trade Continental Agreement, which aims to bring together 1.3 billion people in $3.4 trillion economic bloc. The AFTA is the largest free trade since the establishment of World Trade Organization. Economists have predicted that the trade zone could lift tens of millions out of poverty over the next 15 years. We need to engage the federal government to come up with open policy, particularly on the government agencies that will issue certificate of origin for Nigeria. This is important in order that our country will not be turned to a dumping ground. The economy of our nation is already in comatose. We as patriotic citizens need to play a significant role in the African Free Trade Agreement.
You are still watching the Mitv News. Let's take a moment. When we come back, we bring you stories from outside Nigeria. Stay with us. You're welcome back. Coming down to the foreign scene, a trial of unprecedented scale starts in France under high security over the November 2015 attacks in Paris that were deadliest in peacetime France. Some more than 30 people were killed and hundreds wounded when gunmen with suicide vests attacked 6 bars and restaurants, the Bataclan concert hall, and a sports stadium, leaving deep scars on the nation's psyche. 20 men are due to face trial on Wednesday, with police on high alert. Streets will be closed off to cars and pedestrians around the Palais de Justice courthouse on an island in central Paris, with the surrounding banks of the Seine also off limits. Those authorized to attend the trial will have to go through multiple checkpoints before being allowed in a specially built court and other rooms where the hearings will be broadcast. The trial will last 9 months, with about 1,800 plaintiffs and more than 300 lawyers taking part in what Justice Minister Eric Dupont-Moretti has described as an unprecedented judicial marathon. The verdict is expected in late May 2022. The case file runs to the 1 million pages in 542 volumes, measuring 52 meters across. The Taliban has announced an all-male caretaker government drawn exclusively from its inner echelons, including a man on the United Nations sanctions as Prime Minister and another on the United States terrorism list as Interior Minister. The names announced for the new government on Tuesday, 3 weeks after the Taliban swept to military victory as the U.S.-led foreign forces withdrew, gave no sign of an olive branch to its opponents. Mullah Muhammad Azan Akud, a senior minister during the Taliban's brutal and oppressive rule in the 1990s, was appointed interim prime minister, while the group's co-founder Abdul Ghani Barada, who oversaw the signing of the U.S. withdrawal agreement in 2020, was appointed deputy prime minister. Appointed to the key post of Interior Minister was Sirajuddin Haqqani, one of the founders of the Haqqani network, classified as a terrorist group by Washington. He is one of the FBI's most wanted men due to his involvement in suicide attacks and ties with Al-Qaeda. The U.S. said it was concerned about the affiliations and track records of some of the people named by the Taliban to fill the top posts in Afghanistan's new government. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan said he was carefully monitoring developments in Afghanistan. A top Qatari official said the Taliban show pragmatism and should be judged on their actions, adding that there was no question the group were Afghanistan's de facto rulers. Israeli forces are arresting relatives of Palestinian prisoners on the run after their brazen escape from high-security prison in Israel. The Palestinian Prisoner Support and Human Rights Association, Adamir, said on Wednesday at least 7 family members of the escapees were detained by Israeli soldiers throughout the occupied West Bank, though some were held only briefly. The Jenin refugee camp, where most of the prisoners are from and where Israeli forces believe they hold up. The home of Zakaria Zubiadi was also the rebellious camp in the northern West Bank. His brother Yahya watched suspiciously and appeared tense before ascertaining the press credentials of several journalists who wanted to interview the family. Zakaria is one of the 6 high-profile Palestinian prisoners evading Israeli authorities after escaping from Israel's Gilboa prison in the early hours of Monday. Jamal Zubeidi, 65, the uncle of Zakaria, said the family expected Israeli soldiers to invade the Jenin refugee camp at any time. Indian security forces are maintaining an armed guard around the grave of an iconic Kashmir separatist leader amid mounting public anger over police footage of his funeral, which his family say they were barred from attending. Indian authorities have imposed a security clampdown in the contested Himalayan region since the death of Saeed al-Sahar Gilani, a leading separatist voice over the past 5 decades, last Wednesday at the age of 92. Nassim Gilani, his son, said the armed police smashed Gilani's body and forcibly buried him in the middle of the night and did not allow any member of the family to take part in final prayers. Police have denied the accusations but face fresh outrage after posting videos on Twitter on Monday showing Gilani's body being washed, wrapped in a shroud and buried. Fearing protests, this grave is grave in Indian-administered Kashmir's main city of Srinagar is under armed guard and visitors are not allowed. Let's take a moment. When we come back, we take you to the world of sports. Stay with us. Our Sweden Football Association, SVFF, said on Wednesday they had pulled out of January's training camp in the Qatar due to concerns over migrant workers' rights involved in the preparations for the 2022 World Cup. The decision to withdraw came after discussions between the SVFF and Swedish domestic outfit late on Tuesday. SVFF President Akan Skodstrand said in a statement that it was clear there is a consensus among the clubs against organizing this camp in Qatar. He said the January camp is potently important to body and it is working to ensure that it can take place elsewhere next year. Sweden and their fellow Nordic countries have been at the forefront of the campaign to pressure FIFA into obtaining better conditions for migrant workers in Qatar. Robert Frack, president of Swedish giant AIK Stockholm, said he had labeled the proposed trip as idiotic when asked about it on Swedish TV channel. As next year's global football show spies approaches, Qatar has repeatedly come under the spotlight over worker welfare issues, including the death rate, prompting protests from European sides, including Germany. Matteo Berrettini's coach has warned Novak Djokovic that he has something up his sleeve to help the Italian make it third time lucky against the world number one in Wednesday's US Open quarterfinal. The two players will face off a 2021 Grand Slam for their third consecutive time at Flushing Meadows after Djokovic came out on top in quarterfinals on Roland Garros and Wimbledon final. Djokovic, who is chasing a calendar Grand Slam and record 24th major title in New York, has a perfect 3-0 career record over Berrettini, but St-Tropez only sees positives from the encounter. He said these are the matches Berrettini can take the most from, even if he loses. Playing the Serbian is a pleasure. It is a road to the future. Daniil Medvedev advanced to his third straight US Open semi-final on Tuesday, while Canadian 19-year-old Leila Fernandez delivered another stunner to reach the last four of a Grand Slam for the first time. Russian second seed Medvedev chasing his first Slam title eliminated 117th ranked Dutch qualifier Botic van de Zandschulp 6-3, 6-0, 4-6, 7-5 at Hathorn Stadium. Medvedev moved one victory from a possible championship match against history-chasing Novak Djokovic. The 25-year-old from Moscow was the 2019 US Open runner-up and lost his year's Australian Open final to top-ranked Djokovic, who seeks his fourth US Open title to complete the first men's singles calendar year Grand Slam since Rod Laver in 1969.